Was school easy for you? Was it hard for you? How was that?
I feel like I was an honor roll student like my freshman year, sophomore year, but then COVID came in my junior year and it kind of like knocked me off my path. And also during this time I had became crippled. I wasn't able to walk for 3 to 4 years, so from like 2020 up until 2023, and that was more so like because of the mental changes and everything. And it's something called functional neurological disorder. It kind of like cripples your body, breaks your body down from past trauma.
Welcome to the Elevated Hope Project, a podcast dedicated to celebrating stories of resilience, transformation, and second chances. This podcast is proudly sponsored by Elevated Education, an organization that serves at-risk students through innovative schools like East Point High School, Elevated Academy, and Accelerated Learning Center. At Elevated Education, we believe in the power of education to change lives and create hope where it's needed most. Today, we're honored to share an incredible journey of Sincere Townsend. This gentleman is from Chicago, and I recently met him just through a mutual acquaintance. Sincere, thank you for coming. Yeah. We're excited to hear your story.
Yeah, super glad to be here. Super glad to share with you all.
Yeah. All right. So, really, we want to hear your story. You've recently moved probably 1,700 miles from Chicago.
Literally.
Yeah. Which is a major shift. You know, when I met you a week or so ago, you were telling me that you were from the south side of Chicago, and now you're an entrepreneur on the move, making things happen, getting your master's degree here at ASU, and we're just super interested to hear that story because that's quite a shift, to be out in the desert as compared to the south side of Chicago.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a big difference. I would say that.
Yeah. So why don't you go ahead and give us kind of an introduction and tell us about your upbringing and, what it was like, your family dynamic, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So, just for starters, I'm the youngest of 6 siblings. I came up in the south side of Chicago, further known as like the Morgan Park area. It was a struggle coming up. I mean, I had both parents in the household. Eventually, they ended up splitting apart and things of that nature, but it was all right. We made the best out of it, and yeah.
What about growing up on the south side of Chicago was a struggle?
The struggle? So basically, I told all my friends this. We never really knew it was a struggle until we got out of the situation.
Yeah.
We thought everything was normal. We thought this was just our life and how it is. So I think as I grow older, I noticed that the struggle was like a lot of the gang violence, the police brutality, the gun violence, of course, and really just like street culture in general. Those were the biggest 4 struggles that I had to face growing up and some of the obstacles that I had to get past.
Yeah. When you were younger, growing up in that environment, how did that affect you and influence you? Like, did it create like a lot of fear in you, or were you drawn to that culture? How did that influence you?
I think it was more so a kind of being drawn to the culture, but not really a fear thing, because if you are having fears of that, then you kind of get like eaten up, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So it's like you can't be scared of it. You can't be, to say the least. Like, you got to stand strong. You got to stand tall, or else like you get knocked down. But as far as me being kind of drawn to it, it was more so kind of like hand in hand with just being like a stand-up guy. And it's like you didn't want to get too involved, but you didn't want to be fully involved. So it's kind of like the 1 foot in, 1 foot out kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who modeled that for you? Because being the youngest of 6, or did you just figure that all out on your own to kind of have the 1 foot in, 1 foot out, or did you have some older siblings or your dad or someone that kind of modeled that for you?
I feel like it's a mixture of everything that you just said. So, of course, my father, he would not allow me to be in that if he wanted me to. But it's more so like, I don't know. It's just like a personal thing for me, because I just knew like, all right, I'm cool for all of these gangsters and all of these guys that do a lot of bad stuff, right? But I'm my own person at the end of the day. So I might be out here with y'all from maybe 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. But once I go in the house, I'm watching cartoons. Like, you know what I mean? So I'm going to do my own thing regardless. I feel like it was more of that than anything else.
So you had that influence of the gangs and just kind of the people around you, but then you also mentioned kind of the police influence and the things that they have on the community and just all the other influences on the community. So how did you kind of stay out of that as well? Is it just, all the way around you're just keeping your head down and doing your thing, or how do you kind of navigate all the different aspects of that, of what's going on in the neighborhood?
Yeah, it's more so like you said, just keep my head down and just focusing on whatever is in front of me. I mean, even if it's just like stuff going on inside the house, or if it's just homework, like just kind of stay focused on what I have going on and really not let too much of that like impact me, because I feel like I had a clear distinction of outside is outside and in the house is in the house. So like if I go outside, I know everything that comes with it. I know like what to do, what not to do. But once I come in the house, it's like my safe space, even if it's a lot going on inside of it. Yeah.
So it seems like I'm probably jumping ahead in your story, but it seems like at some point over the course of your lifetime, you made a decision to do something different.
Yeah.
So describe, is that true, and why, and when did that happen?
Yeah, so I say it's very true for starters, but it's probably like 8th grade, 7th grade, where I had to make the decision of like, all right, all your friends are dead or in jail. It's like, do you want to go down that lane, or do you want to go to school and pursue a career and have a good job? And I remember the exact moment, actually, I was just in the house listening to music, and I paused it because I was listening to a certain song. I forgot the song, but it was a line in there where it was like, you either die, go to jail, or you go to school and make $1 million or something. It was something like that. And I just thought on it, and I had to make the decision, like, I can't follow after my friends all the time. I can't do what they're doing. I can't end up like them. I'm going to go to school, and I'm going to do what I need to do. And I remember making that decision pretty early.
Wow, that's huge. 7th or 8th grade, that's fairly young to like dig your heels in and say, I'm going to do something different here.
Yeah, but I think by like 8th grade, just specifically where I came from, you're a young adult at that time. And, as I grow out of that, of course not. But in that environment, you're pretty much of an age to be susceptible to get adult time in jail, or to get into certain stuff inside the streets. And I just didn't want to be a part of that all the way. I wanted to just do something different and make a real change. And that's ultimately what I did.
So then it was just smooth sailing from there on out, right?
No. Nah, not at all. There was still a lot of challenges and like back and forth, and just, getting my mind together as far as what I really wanted to do.
Yeah, that's great. So give us a little bit of a rundown on your time in middle school and then in high school, how that went for you, how you did in school and overcame kind of the, typical drama and things you can get involved in high school.
Yeah. So, just kind of starting from middle school and graduating, I had to figure out what high school I wanted to go to in the first place. And that was one of the biggest challenges, because for one, I would be leaving all my friends if I go to certain high schools, or I would stay with my friends. I knew it would come with a lot of nonsense. And my mom didn't want that for me, so she ended up having me go to the suburbs, South Holland of Illinois. So I had to decide whether I wanted to go to this school called Finger. And it was known for a lot of the violence and fights and people dying and stuff at school. Or Julian, which is another school. The Morgan Park area that I grew up in, that's a school in itself. And each of these schools just had so many cons to it, except for the one that a lot of my family members did end up going to, which is called Thornwood High School in the far south side of Chicago. So I went out there, used my sister's address, and was like, I'm going to just try to do it differently out here. And that's kind of how that came about. When I got there, it was more so like a mind shift. I see like clean grass, and it's a big school with big windows and a fresher smell. Like, it was just so new and different. And I feel like that kind of put me in a mind state of where to like, I don't really got to do the same thing that everybody's doing when I go back home. Like, it's new and it's a breath of fresh air. So yeah, I kind of just took that in and really went from there.
Were you staying with your sister there, or were you traveling every day from home to get down to school?
It was a little back and forth, because most of the time, like, the school bus would drop me off at my sister's house, and I'll be there. I'll be with my nephews and my family for a little bit, but I want to go home eventually. So I ended up just like after sophomore year, I just kind of like traveled back and forth.
Well, that couldn't have been easy to add just to the other pressures of high school.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad, but it still did add like a little blanket of like, now I got to deal with this and that. Yeah. So it's like a duality of the lifestyles, and I had to manage it.
Yeah, I bet that was tough.
Does that create tension when back with your friends in the neighborhood who maybe didn't choose to go to that school, between like those two lifestyles? Is there tension there with relationships then?
Yeah, Actually, it kind of is. I feel like it got better with time and as I just became a man and just like spoke my piece. But at first it was like, people thought that I was better than them, or they was like, yeah, you at this preppy school, or you far in the suburbs, like you're not one of us anymore. And hearing that for the first few times, it's more so like how I only been going for a few months, you know what I mean? So it went from that to more so just accepting it, like, okay, I don't really want to be with y'all. Like I want to be me, and I want to deal with my life how I will deal with it. And y'all could continue to do the same thing that's been going on for generations and generations. But I just accept that I'm not one of you all, and this is who I am. This is what I do.
Did anyone in your circle seem to be influenced by that and follow your lead?
Yeah, so I got one friend specifically named Imran, and he's still like in the same environment and everything, but he's still making a mental change. He would see a lot of the things I would be doing as far as like designing certain stuff or making certain stuff and just having like money coming in at a younger age just by being an entrepreneur in general. And he would see that like he's not influenced by his surroundings. Like he would see that I'm doing something that nobody else is doing, rather that's putting down basketball and picking up a computer or taking time outside of school to just focus on like my personal life and like fitness and stuff of that nature. And he picked up on it just very recently, which was like he called me every day and say, hey, I made this change, or I did this different, or I made this investment, or I saved this amount of money. So it was like he's one person that for sure just calls me and just let me know like, hey, you're the blueprint for everything, and I appreciate it.
Clearly wants to make you proud.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're pointing out something that's really important for really any teenager, but certainly teens that we serve that are kind of struggling through school, struggling through life, home dynamics or whatever. And what you're pointing out there is the mindset shift that has to happen. Of like, I can change what I need to change to make tomorrow look different. Can you talk through like some of the mindset work that you had to do coming, out of that environment and choosing something different for your future?
Yeah, I can. It was a lot. It's tough. It's not easy. Like it can sound easy. People can make it sound good, but it's not easy. So I feel like kind of like during my freshman and sophomore years of high school, I was just battling between like, how do I keep this recognition with my peers that are in these environments, but how do I also just build on myself? And it kind of just more so dealt with separation. So mentally, I had to separate myself from like who I used to be versus who I want to be. And as I figured out what exactly that is, even if that's just being a better person overall, I feel like that was a mindset shift that really got me through. Just knowing like, do you want to be like everybody else, or do you want to be yourself? And it wasn't easy trying to figure that out in itself because I still didn't know what I wanted to do, but I just knew I didn't want to be everybody else. Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
All right, so you got through high school. Was school easy for you? Was it hard for you? How was that?
I feel like I was an honor roll student like my freshman year, sophomore year, but then COVID came in my junior year and it kind of like knocked me off my path. And also during this time I had became crippled. I wasn't able to walk for 3 to 4 years. So from like 2020 up until 2023. And that was more so like because of the mental changes and everything. And it's something called functional neurological disorder. It kind of like cripples your body, breaks your body down from past trauma.
I've never heard of that before.
Yeah, it's fairly new.
How did you figure out that's what caused it?
Years in the hospital.
Yeah.
Doctors trying to figure out what's going on, what's wrong, like what is causing this anxiety attack. Because they thought it was just pure anxiety, but it wasn't. It was more so like built up trauma, built up emotions and things that just wasn't handled and dealt with correctly.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And I think it's something a lot of people aren't aware of and need to be aware of is the physical symptoms that can appear from emotional trauma, emotions that haven't really been dealt with.
Yeah.
So you spent the last 2 years of high school not able to walk.
Yeah, I had to walk across the stage with like a crutch. I needed a wheelchair, but I had too much pride. So
you got it done.
Yeah.
So was your high school closed during that time?
Yeah,
or what?
Everything was online.
So you were home.
I was in the hospital.
You were in the hospital.
Yeah.
Doing it online, unable to walk. trying to figure out what in the world's going on.
Yeah, it was crazy.
How in the world did you do that? Like, how did you? What drove you to get done?
Family. I had a lot of family around, a lot of family support, and everybody just wanted me to feel better. And during that time, it was kind of hard because, like, the world is struggling, so to speak, and the only hope that they really had was for me to get better. And that kind of, like, boosted and motivated everybody around me to just do better, feel better, think better, and just handle themselves differently than what they already have. So, yeah, it's more so just family just pushing me through.
And you were lifting your family up because everyone around you was seeing what you were going through.
Yeah, and they was like, well, I don't want to go through that. So they kind of just like, let me change my ways too. And yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And you're doing high school on top of it.
Yeah. And trying to figure out like my next steps in life.
Wow.
As you and the doctors figured out what was going on with you, I would assume that you had to go through, quite a bit of counseling and therapy and that kind of stuff to unpack that and help your body start to heal.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about that a little bit?
Yeah. So I spent a lot of time like going back and forth with doctors on like, do I need physical therapy more? Do I need like mental therapy, or do I need to just stay in the hospital until they figure it out? Like, it was a lot. So I kind of did a mixture of both. I went to different like rehab facilities and things of that nature, and I was talking to the counseling services within the hospital, and they were doing all that they could, but it was like nobody really had an answer up until maybe like my last year of being crippled. It was all of these different names and titles of like symptoms and disorders that people could have, but they couldn't really hone in on what it was until I went to this one rehab center called Shirley Ryan Ability Lab. It's one of the most prestigious rehab facilities in the U.S., I'm assuming. And they kind of like honed in. They said, well, yeah, this is what it is, and this is how you can get through it. And like at the time, they told me like it's no for sure answer if I'll be able to ever walk again how I used to. But they said if you just take the right steps, like mentally you'll be better and you'll be prepared through that, and hopefully through time, everything just eases out.
And so is that what happened? That it actually cleared up over time?
Yeah, and it took like a lot of hard work. So I remember like maybe January 2023 or 24, I couldn't afford to go to another rehab center, specifically the one that figured everything out. And I was like, what do I do? Like, I can't just sit here, because I missed out on Christmas. I missed out on Thanksgiving because I was just sitting there for them to find a place for me to go. And I just asked, like, can I just go home? And after like a week, they let me go home. I'm going to just try to do it all myself, because I had a gym in my building, and I just went there every day. I stretched. I said, I'm not going to do any liquor, any drugs, any weed, nothing. No medicine, nothing. Like, I'm just going to focus on my health, focus on like building my strength in my legs. And through time, it was some ups and downs, but I kind of got it to ease out. The pain got less and less worse. And I also started to read a lot more, just better my mindset and thinking about what I did learn throughout my time in counseling services, where they'd tell me like, hey, you seen 10, 20 people die in front of you. Like, that's not easy. You know what I mean? And when I just wrap my mind around that, I found myself just getting through it easier, and eventually it kind of like cleared everything up.
So this is kind of random question, but you started reading a lot. Any books that like just stick out to you as kind of helped you get through?
Yeah, my favorite one is As a Man Thinketh by James Allen, if I'm not mistaken. Have you all read that?
I haven't.
It's a great book. It's a great book. I know it's been like reiterated a lot of times, but yeah, it's super nice.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, it's super dope.
So through all that, the counseling and, just life, was there, one particular adult, either, counselor or a teacher or someone other than family that you were dealing with that kind of helped you along and kind of helped you get that mindset growth?
Kind of, sort of. I had a gym teacher that's been in my life like since I was in preschool. His name is Mr. Marshall. I got to shout him out. During that time, he prayed for me a lot. He's also made sure that I'm in the Bible, and I'm making sure that I just got the right mindset, just always just speaking life into me. And I feel like that's one person I could just give a lot of gratitude to, for sure.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
How about family? Is there that one family member? I don't want you to call out your family on here, but
it's not fair.
You just have to ask the question.
Nah, I can't even single anybody out.
Just
like,
that much support. That's awesome.
It was like an equal support from everybody.
Not many people have that.
Yeah. So just whoever it was, even if it was like outside family members that just honed in and just wanted the best for me. Like everybody played their own part.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So like you mentioned before, you had all of this physical journey that you were going through and also mental, emotional journey at the same time while trying to complete high school. And then you did.
Yeah.
You finished, right? But in there, you mentioned you were also trying to figure out what to do next.
Yeah.
So where did you land? What happened next after high school?
So I remember being in the hospital one day. One of the counselors had called me and said, hey, we know you couldn't finish the ACT or SAT, one of them, and we knew that you didn't get experience the last few years of high school because you were in the hospital. And she asked me, like, what do you want to do? She said that we could pass you and we could get you through and things of that nature, but you still ultimately have to figure out, like, what's this next step? So I was like, initially I wanted to go to college for kinesiology in North Carolina, but I couldn't walk. I couldn't move around. I couldn't, you know what I mean, like preach what I teach. So I was like, I might not be able to walk again. Let me just do something that I know that's kind of like safe. So I went with graphic design because I was in the hospital. I was bored. I'd be doodling on my iPad or just trying to make stuff for my friends that used to ask for, whatever the case may be, to get my time passed through. And ultimately, I just went with graphic design at Columbia College, Chicago. And it just turned into my career from there. Yeah, it's kind of.
Was it did you go on site for that, or was it a virtual program?
It was kind of like both. It was pretty hybrid.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
that's really what I went for. I had a scholarship, like a full ride, and I also had the ability to like go hybrid, where it's like most of my classes are online. Maybe 1-2 classes are in person a semester.
Okay.
So I just ended up going with that because I found it to be kind of like the easiest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yep. And Columbia College, if I remember right, it's right on Michigan Avenue. Yeah, right across the street from Grant Park, I think. Yeah, beautiful area.
Right on point. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was definitely another scenery change for me as well.
Yeah.
It was super nice.
Yeah, that is a nice part of town.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. And as your graphic design skills increased, as I understand it, you started your own design company.
Yeah.
And got picked up by some different brands along the way.
Yeah.
Tell us about that journey.
Yeah, so I always tell people it always started with music. So a lot of my friends would be trying to be like rap artists or singers or songwriters or producers, and they would always need me for a party flyer, a music cover or artwork some way, somehow. And I landed my first gig at maybe 17, 18 for an artist, and the label just reached out and said, hey, we've seen this artwork. Can we have the rights to it? We'll pay you out. And I just kind of went from there and just built the relationship with some of the record label people and just really kept going. I never really tried to stop. And yeah, that's really how that came about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you still do work for record labels today, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did any of those artists you were doing side work for when you first got started, did anybody make it?
I feel like in a record label, it's hard.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you could say people make it, but if it's not the top of the top,
Yeah.
it don't really count. Yeah. So a lot of people did great things. A lot of people had a lot of success in my world. So I would say yes, but at the same time, maybe technically no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
That's a tough business.
It's crazy. If you're not Chris Brown or Michael Jackson, it's like.
Yeah. And with social media, it's just so saturated. There's so much
it's
talent out
super
there.
saturated, and it's like it's hard to find your way throughout the business for sure.
Yeah. Well, you found a way through graphic design.
Yeah, because I always knew like I wanted to be like behind the production scene or like in movies. Like I had extra roles in shows like The Chi and things like that, and I always wanted to be a part of that life, but I didn't really want to be like the center of focus. So I feel like graphic design was the perfect place for me to be like, hey, I did that. It's on billboards. It's here, here, here. And I didn't have to like make the song or, you know, have this sense of like needing to make another hit or anything. Like,
Right.
I could just make it. It does what it does and go on to the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay. So it kind of all started with the music industry, and where has it gone from there?
Yeah, so currently I'm working with Dickies right now to get some merchandise out for the nonprofit that I work for as a designer. I've worked with Zoomies to help their More Than Rolling. It's more so like a festival, if so to speak. It's like a festival that Zoomies has around the world, and specifically in the States. I think they're in Seattle right now. And I created a lot of the design and the stickers and stuff like that for them to go out and share. Dickies, Zoomies, Alamo Records. I've done things for the NBA, the WNBA, and that kind of just went from like Instagram. I was on Instagram one day just posting a lot of Bulls flyers and things like that, and they reached out and said, hey, can we use it? They used it, and it just kind of like kept building from there. It's like a lot of opportunities presented themselves, and I accepted it and just just kept going. Yeah.
That strategy, did you learn that somewhere, or is that just something that came from within you?
Kind of like the culture around me, like the street culture. So in the street culture, a lot of people would be scamming and stuff like that. And I would be around people, they are sending thousands and thousands and thousands of texts to people every day. And I'm like, why are you trying so hard? I'm like, you can just do that for your own business. So when I seen them doing that, I'm like, you know what? I'm cool. Let me just do the same and apply it to my business. So I just would post something and I just send it to everybody I know and everybody that I could possibly get it in their hands and like get it to who I needed to get to. And that's really where that strategy came from.
Yeah, so interesting. You took a strategy that could be used for good or evil, and you used it for good.
Yeah. That's all I really seen. I'm like, no, you putting too much energy and stuff that's not really going to get you nowhere far. And I'm like, let me take it and do the right thing. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. At this point in the story, you've gotten through college, you are on your way to building your business and your brand. And then at some point, you decide, I'm going to head out to the desert and get a master's degree. So tell me about that. I mean, tell me what it was that you thought moving to Phoenix from Chicago would be the right move for you to continue to move forward.
All right. So mainly the weather. And that's probably like top 3. In Chicago, it gets below 0, as you all know. It sucks. And mentally, that doesn't do me any good. I mean, in the cold, I feel like I break down. I just be depressed. And I don't like that. Yeah. So I feel like being somewhere where the sun is out every day, all day, I have no reason but to be like successful or just more positive, however it goes. Secondly, it's like the violence still going on. Like I have over maybe 150 people that I know that died to gun violence. And it's like just feeling stuck in that. And I was downtown. I knew like my lease would be up in August, and I was like, if I move, it's so much that I have to deal with, so much I have to get readjusted to. I'm like, I don't want to deal with that. Like, I just want to continue to prosper, continue to do the right thing. So I'm like, I want to move. I want to get out of Chicago. And around June, I came out here just to visit, just to do some work away from home. And I was like, it's pretty cheap down here. And the sun is out, palm trees, nice people. Hey, I'm going.
Yeah.
So I ended up saying, you know what? I'm taking my talents out here and I'll get my master's degree and I'll see what's coming next.
Yeah.
Just this past June?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's fresh.
I mean,
then.
It's super fresh.
Yeah.
Like, I've only been out here maybe 2 weeks now.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
you visit in June and you like it here, then you're going to be just fine.
It was only 110, right?
Nah, it was only like 124. I was like, hey, anything better than below 0, so why not?
And what master's degree are you going after?
So I'm going for a master's of graphic technology.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. And then I just got my undergrad in May for a Bachelor of Arts. So super
awesome.
excited. Yeah.
That's great.
So much life change at once. What are you
Yeah.
most excited about, and what are you most nervous about?
Most excited about building these connections, like with all of you all. Like, this is super dope to be here. Most nervous about nothing really. Really no nervousness. It's more so just like ready to go attack my goals and just putting myself on the front line to be able to do so. Yeah.
So you said go after your goals. What are some of those big goals?
Some of my big goals are like starting my own design agency. I want to work for people like McDonald's and Ed Hardy's and Nike and all of these big major brands. And I want to be able to do some work for every single body, as much people as I can, or just have my foot in the door to have these relationships with everybody. That's 2 of my biggest goals right now. Like, that's what my focus is. And of course, like, attaining my master's degree.
Yeah, for sure.
So looking back on your journey up until now, you're face to face with a kid about 7th or 8th grade in your situation. What words would you share with that little guy that you maybe needed to hear from somebody else?
I mean, don't be scared to be different. And as he told me before, don't let perfect be the enemy of good. So a lot of times I always feel like, oh, I got to be perfect to make it out, or I got to be the greatest at what I do to just get out of my scenery or my circumstances. But in reality, just be good at what you do and perfect it through time, and just understand that it does get better. I feel like back then I was stuck in a position where I was like, I might be next, or I don't know what might happen next. You know what I mean? It's always this impending doom. So just understand, like, you'll be okay. You'll make it out. Things do get better. And it might take a long time or it might take a short time, but just believe in the process and it'll work out.
Yeah, that's powerful.
Yeah.
It's pretty wise.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I just love your story of, growing up in this environment that had a lot of chaos, to just making this decision and working on your mindset and setting your sight on what you want for your life and just going after it and not stopping, to the point now to where, you've moved, you're in a new degree program, you're building your business. We got the opportunity to meet you. An incredible success story in my mind that so many people need to hear, and including our students, because you can get into these circumstances in life that a lot of our students are, and they feel hopeless, right? They feel stuck. They can't ever get out of it. It's been 2-3 generations of the same lifestyle, so they just kind of surrender to that. And that's one of the things that we try to teach in our schools is, by building this resilience inside of you and showing you that you can accomplish things, the goal is that they just keep after it and keep trying. And I think that's exactly what your story is.
Yeah, I appreciate that so much.
Yeah.
Also worth mentioning that you seem physically healed.
Yeah, for
Yeah?
sure.
Okay.
I'd say 99% better.
Oh,
Yeah.
Great.
incredible.
Yeah, for sure. It's a long time coming, but it was worth the hard days, the long nights. Like, it was worth it. Like, made me the man I am today.
Still doing all the things to take care of yourself?
Yeah.
Physically, mentally?
It became like a hobby. It became like, you got to do it. Because I don't really want to go back down that lane. And I just want to mentally prepare myself, physically prepare myself for anything that comes my way.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Amazing.
Well, we're honored to have met you. We're proud of where you're at, and definitely plan on staying in contact with you. We're just thankful that you set the time aside from your busy schedule to come talk to us and share your wisdom and your story with our audience.
Yeah, anytime. And anything you all need from me personally, I'm always here. Always a call away.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Yep.